And you know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all.
That's right, it's time for KP's Video News. And we're going to jump right in because this case here, and there's been a lot of this going on, and I've been telling people to be, to really be careful out there, because you got a lot of lunatics that are out there on the streets that are following this far right-wing rhetoric garbage, and they're starting, and they're not just starting, they've been doing it. They've been using their vehicles as weapons against people, against protesters, and as you saw what happened in Charlottesville last year, the person got killed by one of these far-right extremists that's using their vehicle as a weapon. So you have to be really careful out there. If you're out there protesting, keep your eyes open. And this woman is charged with attempted murder for driving through peaceful protesters. California woman has been charged with attempted murder after driving through a group of dueling protesters during a Caravan for Justice event Saturday afternoon. Dueling protests held in Yorba Linda, about 35 miles east of Los Angeles, quickly boiled over into animosity as Black Lives Matter demonstrators clashed with Donald Trump supporters. Approximately 30 minutes after the protest began, we began to receive reports of physical altercations occurring between the two protest groups, including at least one individual who was pepper sprayed by another protester. The crowd grew to about 250 people, and due to the violence and reports of individuals within the crowd having weapons, the sheriff's department declared an unlawful assembly. It was after a dispersal order was given that a woman identified as Tatiana Turner drove through a group of protesters, many waving Trump flags, outside of Yorba Linda Public Library at about 3 p.m. Local time. Two people, a man and a woman, were hit by the car, with both suffering major injuries. Both are expected to survive. Orange County Sheriff's Department Sergeant Dennis Breckner stated the woman struck by the vehicle broke both her legs. A white sedan was pursued by dozens of protesters who smashed several of the car's windows before she was detained by law enforcement. Dozens of deputies were on hand and for the two protests, which had been scheduled for weeks. Turner, 40, of Long Beach, was charged with attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon and was booked in the Orange County Jail. And Orange County Sheriff identified Turner as a member of the Caravan for Justice event. Another person at the event, Mason Mancuso, 46, was arrested on charges of failure to obey the dispersal order. An incident Saturday came 2 days after a person was hit by a pickup truck at a protest in Hollywood. Protesters surrounded the truck Thursday night, after which it tried to get away from the situation and hit a person in the street, LAPD stated. The person was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Another accident at the same time, two vehicles crashed into one another when a truck involved in the protest tried to block a white Toyota Prius. The Prius backed into a Mustang as it tried to escape the situation. No one has been arrested in either incident Thursday, and the investigation is ongoing. So you got to be careful out there, folks. Got to be careful. Got to keep your eyes open. You got to keep your head, like they say, keep your head on a swivel. Keep your head on a swivel. And, look out for that dribble. 25 more people arrested Saturday in Louisville as Breonna Taylor protests continue. The fourth night of demonstrations following the grand jury decision to charge only one officer, and he was not charged for anything that had to do with Breonna Taylor. He was charged for discharging his weapon, and his weapon went through. Not only did it go through Breonna Taylor's house, it went through the neighbor's house, and it went through a second neighbor's house. And this is new information that I received. But they only charged this cop they only charged him with the bullets that went through the white people's wall. So understand what I'm saying. You had Breonna Taylor, then you had the second house, and then you had the third house. The bullets went through all three houses. However, they only charged for the one house, and coincidentally, that one house occupants were white, all white. Now, the occupants of the house where the bullets went through, where the occupants were black, no charges were filed. The bullets that went through Breonna Taylor's house, no charges were filed. So that's two houses that black people lived in, and no charges were filed. So this is the South. This is the South, people. The charges are mostly curfew violations. There were 22 curfew-related charges, though some people were charged with more than one thing. Others are for rioting, theft, and fleeing police. Most of the people arrested were from Louisville, according to police. Hundreds of protesters gathered at Jefferson Square and marched around downtown without any run-ins with Louisville police before returning to the park less than 2 hours before the city's curfew. Some protesters planned to occupy the park past curfew and told anyone who didn't want to risk arrest to leave. The crowd shrank significantly, and just before 9 p.m. local time, protesters remaining in the park returned to the First Unitarian Church, which protesters have used over the past few nights as a sanctuary from police after curfew. At least 4 people were arrested shortly after 9 at 6th and Broadway. About 100 more protesters gathered at the church. Around midnight, police said a smaller group of people left the church and began causing destruction. Police said there were plywood shields on fire in front of the church, smashed windows at Spalding University and Presentation Academy, and graffiti sprayed on several buildings. Police caught on video a car in Spalding University parking lot being set on fire, and they say fireworks are used to set off small explosions. And the ATF and the police department are looking into all that. Earlier Saturday, a small group of people gathered outside Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's home in Louisville for the second consecutive day. The dozen or so protesters used spoons and hit pots and pans with chanting, vote him out, say her name," referring to Taylor. On Friday, 22 people were arrested in Louisville after violating curfew. Many were charged with unlawful assembly and failure to disperse, all misdemeanors. People in more than a dozen cities and towns across the country Saturday night, which was last night, invoked Taylor's name during gatherings demanding police justice for her case. Larger marches and rallies took place in Portland, Nashville, Chicago, New York, Washington, D.C., Raleigh, South Carolina, Kansas City, Boston, and Baltimore. Smaller demonstrations also cropped up in Worcester, Massachusetts, Greenville, South Carolina, Poughkeepsie, New York, Akron, Ohio, Dayton Beach, Florida, and Bristol, Pennsylvania. Several dozen people held a candlelight vigil in the banks of the Delaware River. And so the protests continue. So since I'm talking about protests, this is something that happened. This is something that happened, and this is pretty disturbing. So you had a man live streaming a Proud Boys rally in Portland was knocked to the ground and kicked in the face by a protester Saturday, and police have now launched an investigation. An investigation into this assault case is underway, Portland police stated, linking the video of the attack. It's unclear what led to the incident, but police have asked any witnesses to email crimetipsportlandoregon.gov. And so the man, what happened was it was a black guy out there that was a reporter, and he got attacked by one of the far right wing white boys called himself the Proud Boys, and he got pushed to the ground and he got kicked in the face. Thousands of Proud Boys, the far right Pacific Northwest group known for causing chaos and violence, were promised at Delta Park Saturday, but only about 200 showed up, many wearing militarized body armor. Several arrests were made, including a driver who was cited for obscuring a car's license plate. Officials confiscated firearms, paintball guns, bats, and shields. 2 people were charged with unlawful possession of a loaded firearm in public. The Proud Boys organizers stated that they wrapped up the event early and And the anti-fascism rally down the road drew a much larger crowd, including Caesar, the no-drama llama. Thank you to the police officers and law enforcement partners ensuring the demonstrations have remained largely peaceful throughout the day. Mayor Ted Wheeler said in a statement and his testimony to the collaborative planning and preparation Portland police did, our local, state, and whatever. They had declared Friday, the governor of Oregon declared a state of emergency and ordered state troopers and sheriff deputies to Portland in anticipation of clashes between the Proud Boys and the anti-fascists. Against the Proud Boys are the fascists right-wing fascists that are out there that create nothing but problems and chaos everywhere they go. So, I don't see how they was even given a permit. They never should have been given a permit in the first place. And I'm gonna move on to some other stuff here. Truth be told, the policies that impacted Black lives, a new exhibition now open at the Muhammad Ali Center. And it's Louisville, Kentucky. It's called for racial justice and equality in America is louder than ever now. Before, the Muhammad Ali Center has created an exhibition to educate and help others learn from the country's past in order to foster a better future. Truth be told, the policies that impacted Black lives in this exploration of those policies that are linked to systematic racism in America from the early 1600s up to the present day. Truth be told offers visitors the opportunity to learn about the history of Black people in our country that is often left out, misrepresented, or even falsified in history books. It is critical that the facts of our collective American history be told so that the negative outcomes that these policies produce can be understood, recognized, and amended. The exhibition's content will be posted on authentic plywood panels that were used on buildings in the Louisville protests and marches. These panels, originally used as barracks, will be repurposed as a platform on which we are sharing this important history. Truth be told also features a spray-painted murals created by Louisville artists, and President and CEO of the Muhammad Ali Center stated, "It is important for everyone to understand that our frustration, anger, and outrage stems not only from a disproportionate, unjust killing of Black folks, but, truth be told, we are frustrated from 400 plus years of policy upon policy that had rooted systematic racism into the fabric of this nation. The work in the Ali Center in telling stories of African Americans and their contributions to culture is vitally important in building unity and bridging the racial divide in this country. The scenes documented in the Ali Center's powerful Truth Be Told exhibit should remind us of the critical need to stand together and fight against racism and racial injustice. Block by Block is honored to support the Muhammad Ali Center as visually shares the history of how persons of color have been unjustly treated for decades. President of Block by Block, this is a powerful exhibit that hopefully will bring much needed awareness to the world that needs more understanding, empathy, and love. We at Block by Block are honored to have played a role in bringing this exhibit to life. The call to action for Truth Be Told is to learn, share, and vote. Museum patrons will learn the true history of the policies that have affected Black people, be encouraged to share what they have learned with anyone who will listen, and hopefully will be motivated to vote for the people on the ballot who will make the right decisions for all the people in this country. Truth Be Told exhibit is open now through Sunday, April 18th, 2021. The exhibit entry is included in the regular admission price. For any information at the Ali Center's operation call, you can visit the alicenter.org. That's ALICENTER.org. It's the Muhammad Ali Center down in Louisville, Kentucky, of all places. And so along those same lines, it's an educators are using blackhistory.com. Now listen to this. I'm going to post this name on here. blackhistory.com to teach students what textbooks leave out. So textbooks are failing public schools, community colleges, and universities when it comes to African American history. Therefore, many teachers and professors are teaching their students from credible websites like blackhistory.com that reveal little known facts about black culture, inventions, and more. The website has launched more than 2 years ago and adds weekly content that surpasses the fundamentals that are covered in most schools across the country. Sadly, most curriculums for black history are just basic lessons of people about like Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, and etc. Because of this, many students never really get to learn about in-depth topics that accurately covered the facts about African American descent. Here are just a few topics that the website covers. One, this is historical. It's a little comedy situation, but the real Betty Boop was a black woman before she was whitewashed. There was a black passenger on the Titanic when it sank in 1912, but he did not survive. Black people invented the holiday Memorial Day. The first 6 African Americans who escaped slavery and became millionaires. And black people founded the city of Los Angeles. And a black man founded the city of Chicago. Dante Lee, the creator of the website, says that the articles they publish are accurate and verified from credible sources. He comments, "It's a free online tool for teachers and professionals to use. In addition to the books that are already being used in the classroom, every educator around the world should implement our articles into their lesson plans. Researchers, historians, and authors can contribute content by submitting their articles for consideration to info@blackhistory.com. Educators who are interested, family, parents that are interested, youth that are interested, adults that are interested, and you can go and you can print the articles electronically by visiting blackhistory.com. So that's BLACKHISTORY.com, blackhistory.com, and I'll make sure I post that link up in the in my bio, which I always do. So hey, folks, it is what it is. We gotta go out here. We gotta do our thing. We gotta do what we have to do to update, upgrade, and you have to know where you came from. If you don't know where you came from, you definitely don't know where you're going. So, Black History.
KP's Video News, y'all.
That's right, folks.
Peace.